caption reads, "Too many of us are becoming single Black mamas with more than we need to do better 100%."
What's been breaking my heart, I'm not gonna lie, seeing so many of my old female acquaintances, seeing so many of my old female friends, and it's every time I run across one of these social medias, see them in person, it's you just had a baby, you a single mama, you struggling. I don't know how we be carrying these babies, risking our lives just to be able to walk away, stress us out, pick and choose whenever they want to come and help and stuff. And God, I hate that for us. I hate that for us. I hate that for us. I do, because what happened? And it's so funny because oftentimes the ones who picked wrong partners, this girl used to go to school with me. Elementary through high school, we graduated and all that. And she'd be talking about how she'd be struggling, how she's a single mom, how she's this, how she's that. And I know her. She had a rough upbringing, a very rough upbringing. And that kind of makes me think about myself too. I've had a very traumatic upbringing, you feel what I'm saying? That forces you to look for love in the wrong place. You find peace in all that chaos. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why I feel us females stick around long enough to the point where we do end up getting pregnant. We do end up this and we do end up that. Oh, y'all know how he was before y'all had the baby. But man, we gotta do better, man. And I'm only saying that because I'm pregnant again on my second baby. I catch myself looking at my BD from time to time, and it's not even wanting more, but just, you know what I'm saying, just wanting more to life.
If some of you ladies would value your uterus as much as you value getting your nails done, you wouldn't be in this position. I understand it takes two people to make a child. I get it. And I understand that, oftentimes, especially when you're young, the fathers walk out and then they go and they pregnate other women, and the cycle of poverty and desperation repeats itself. But here's something, young ladies, you don't have to be a statistic. You don't. And the problem with this girl's come to Jesus for a minute speech is she can't walk it. She isn't walking it. She hasn't walked it. And statistically, she will have a third child. See, I could value, I guess, this speech coming from a woman who stops, thinks, reflects, and has never had a kid despite coming from the chaos and trauma to straighten her life up. I could even respect it from a woman who had one child, stopped, reflected, never did it again. But when you have two kids and you go on social media acting as though you got all this come to Jesus moment and then end it with, well, now here I am with my second kid, it devalues your credibility. It doesn't necessarily devalue the words you're saying. I get the words. I mean, I wrote it down here, okay? Quote, "I hate this for us." You hate it for you so much, you went ahead and you did it again. See, the problem is a lot of these young mothers, they spend more time reflecting on, who, what, when, where they're going to get their hair done, when they're going to get their nails done, when their next spa, when their next trip is. And they spend 2 minutes thinking about, gee, who am I going to have my child with? Priorities, ladies, priorities. And again, we can blame the men, but I want to give you young ladies food for thought. Guess what? You have control 100% over your body. You got that control and you have the ability to say, no, 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 not tonight. Thanks. Not today. Thanks. Or if nothing else, they got science now. We can use protection. And I believe you can even get it for free. Yes, I believe you can. Are we that afraid to be alone? Are we that afraid to go, oh my goodness, if this guy isn't with me, I mean, and you're an 18, 19, whatever, young baby mama, or you want to be a baby mama. See, ladies, you don't have to be a statistic. So, well, I respect the words that she said. To me, it has no credibility coming from her. Okay. It'd be like me sitting there and telling you guys about, broke and bankrupt and how to spend your money. And I'm 58 years old, almost 59. Thanks for the birthday wishes, by the way, you guys, for those who have been leaving them. And then going, guess what? I'm still broke. I'm still bankrupt. And you know what I learned? I learned that because I didn't plan on saving and I didn't plan on a career, you know what? I realized that's why I'm in the hellhole I'm in right now. Yep. I'm still broke and bankrupt. You could look at me and go, "Oh, great, you learned it, but you learned it a little too late." It's the same thing in this situation, sitting down, having that reflective conversation. She looks like she's downstairs, maybe in a den basement or something like that, and having this reflective conversation with yourself, this come to Jesus moment. You stick it on social media, and then, oh, by the way, ignore everything I've said because I'm pregnant again. We don't learn, in my opinion. It doesn't mean you've learned just because you can mouth the words. You have to be able to also do the actions.
Just lost my job.
Okay, this guy is not a social media headache, but as you know, I put SMH, social media headache, under I I put, off videos that really don't deal with begging or student loan under social media headaches. And this guy, I really feel for. So we're gonna be kind, all right?
They said they love me and they think I'm talented and delightful, but I just wasn't keeping up with the workload the way they need someone to, which it was a lot. And I was getting really stressed and overwhelmed because it's going to be okay. Because Jesus is still on the throne and God is my provider. It's sad because I really actually liked this job and I liked this team. And I've worked probably harder than I have in a long time at doing well at this job. And to not have done anything wrong, but just to not be a good fit is, I don't know. It's like a double-edged sword. Oh yeah, it's not that you did anything wrong, you're just not a good fit. And it is like a very niche type of thing. Just started paying my rent bill back. Just started feeling like I was getting on my feet financially.
What's been breaking my heart?
Hold on, I just accidentally messed that up. Let me see if I can slide this out, having to edit tape.
Someone to, which it was a lot. And I was getting really stressed and overwhelmed because it's going to be okay. Because Jesus is still on the throne and God is my provider. It's sad because I really actually liked this job and I liked this team. And I've worked probably harder than I have in a long time at doing well at this job. And to not have done anything wrong, but just to not be a good fit is, I don't know. It's like a double-edged sword. Oh yeah, it's not that you did anything wrong, you're just not a good fit. And it is like a very niche type of thing. Just started paying my rent bill back. Just started feeling like I was getting on my feet financially.
Okay. In this particular case, folks, we are talking about a guy who, as he said, did nothing wrong. I think most of us at some point or another have been in this situation. And that is where we lose something like a job, and it's only because we just don't match the job. And he said the job was one that I guess requires a lot of hustling. So I'm thinking, I don't know, it might be manual labor intensive. Here's the thing. I lost an insurance job years back in my 30s. Not because I didn't show up, not because, I had done anything wrong. I just didn't groove with the job. It was just what they were looking for and what I had to offer, even though I had, almost 4 or 5 years of insurance work before it. And I remember when they let me go, it was so devastating to me. I almost passed out, and they had a extra room. It was like a little break room. It had a couch, and I actually had to go lie down on the couch with my manager there, and she was as nice as could be. And they understood how stressful it was. And I lived alone, all of that stuff. I was in Portland, and I didn't know it at the time. Now, I'm not saying this is the case for him, but for me, I was getting ready to fall into the biggest mental illness I would ever have of my life, which I will not discuss, um, at least until after I retire. Okay. I will not discuss it. But I didn't know it at the time. But what I did know was that I had done everything I thought right to the best of my ability. But sometimes the best of your ability isn't enough to meet the requirements of what the company wants. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with you or your skills. And it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with the company. There was nothing wrong with this company that I worked for. In fact, I'd be proud to work for them again. Don't know if they'd hire me, but like I said, this was in my 30s. We're talking decades ago. But what I do remember was the footprint that they left on me is how kind they were. They were just so kind. I mean, from the top boss to it was a very small office, probably 12 people, okay, if that. And I even had my own office. And I remember just trying and trying, and I just couldn't get what they wanted. Yet what I had was totally suitable for another major company. I mean, we're talking major that I used to work for prior to that. So losing something because we don't match it is heartbreaking. I've been there, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have been there. It's kind of like, being a teacher and entering my 21st year, and how blessed I feel to not only be successful as a teacher. I mean, there's always room for improvement. Tell me what job there isn't room for improvement, but we're talking, as a career, okay? Not only am I successful with what I've done in my career, how hard I've worked in my career, the ending dedicated hours to it, but there was, when I first started, there was always that, geez, am I going to match? Because you could have a teacher just as his career, you put them in one school and they thrive at it. Put them in another school and it just doesn't work for whatever reason. And I think when we get to those dark places in our life, it is really, really important that we understand it's not a you thing. So long as you can be really honest with your skills and talent. That's a big key. Can you be honest? Okay, these were the skills, these are the talent, that I have towards the job. And what I chose to do, what I recommend people do is look at where your strengths were. Ask your employer, even that's letting you go. Ask them if they were. I mean, mine was so kind. I actually asked her. Okay, and she said to me, she said, Carrie, she goes, insurance isn't your thing. And she said it in a private conversation because I was like, what did I do? And she's like, you're really, you just didn't work fast enough. And I didn't have the level of detail that they wanted. So there was a speed thing. There was some technical things I had, but what she left me with, the gift that she left me with was she said, this isn't really you. She goes, it's not you. You are meant to do something else. And I remember just sitting there, and here I am, waking up after practically passing out. And she walked me to my car. She helped me, put my stuff in. And she said, this just isn't you. Now, what's interesting is I was 30. Yeah, really, really early 30s, like 31, 32. She was probably in her late 40s going into 50 because I think she had children and grown children and stuff like that. And I remember she just looked at me, she goes, It's not you." And I've never forgotten that. Like, if I could see her today and I remember her first name, and I would give her the biggest thank you. See, what this guy's gonna have to do, you guys, is he's gonna have to realize there were technical things that they needed. There were some speed things, which could also be considered technical. There may or may not have been some personality things, and they may or may not even be truthful and say that, because no good employer wants to go, yeah, your personality just absolutely sucks. It didn't work out here, because personality is very subjective. So oftentimes, to avoid lawsuits, things like that, employer will point to the technicals. Okay, you didn't clock in on time, you're always late, you missed this many widgets when you were supposed to do that many. But all we can do is learn from that situation and try to move forward with it. And it hurts for a while, but it's my experience that if you're really, really honest with yourself and you really, really look at what you have done in the job and you compare it to other jobs you have done. See, is there a track? Is there something that's missing? Do you hear the same refrain over and over and over again in different jobs that you do? And if you do hear the same refrain, the same, concern, the same skill lack or lack of skill, okay, perhaps that's something that needs to be fixed. And if you have a chance, if there are people there that will be really, really honest with you and ask you, what is it? Did I do something beyond just the technicals? They might even give you insight that involves personality. And this doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, but what it may mean, because our personalities are ego and we want to defend that, of course, who doesn't? But what it may mean to a person who can stay open-minded and can listen, it may mean you're actually in the wrong career. And it may mean that somebody else can see that you are in the wrong career. This lady saw that I was in the wrong career. She saw it before I saw it. Now imagine if I had never been willing to listen, or I'd never been willing to ask and say, what could I have done differently? What did I do? If you're never willing to ask because you think you have all the answers and you know all the answers, then you could be missing advice from people who genuinely care about you. Genuinely. There are people in the workplace that genuinely care about you. There are people in my workplace I genuinely care about. You see? So I feel the guy's pain. I could practically cry along with him because I understand what it's like to be there. I get it. And I think a lot of us actually get it. But what I'm going to tell him is, hey, you know what? Give yourself time to grieve. Give yourself time. You've earned it. Okay? You owe it to yourself. Take a day or two to grieve, but then stop. And, tell yourself, you know what? This isn't going to hold me back. It's only going to move me forward. And use the things that they have told you. But the willingness to listen is something that can be difficult for a lot of people. The willingness to listen. And yes, for all the yakking and talking I do, clearly I listen. Because I wouldn't be in this situation in my life where I am today without listening. You have the inner voice that you listen to, and then you have the people that you care about. And here's the kicker, folks. It may not even come from your family. And here's the other kicker, it may not even come from your best friends, because all those people have an interest to some extent. All right. Your family members don't want you to be all ticked off with them, and your friend may like their relationship with you. But if you have the best family and the best friends, okay, and if you have a coworker or two, you shouldn't be close friends to everybody in the office. That's just my personal opinion. Okay. But if you have a person or two that can really give you honest feedback, this guy may find he was in the wrong career. And if it is true that he has a speed problem, just like some people talk faster, some people talk slower, some people physically move faster, he may find that what feels like, a knife to the heart one day may actually be the best gift that he could ever receive. And that was for someone to be honest and say to him, hey, you know what? This isn't the right career for you. So it forces you to go out and find something that is. And this is a true story. When I took a personality test years ago when I was working in insurance, I've been teaching for 20 years. So you got to think like 35 years ago, I took a personality test and I was working in insurance, which I was technically very good at insurance other than the time that they let me go, as I just told you. But the job fit me. It really did, technically wise, okay? And it was one of those things where the insurance department said, hey, we're going to get together and have a warm, fuzzy meeting and bring somebody in to give us a personality test. True story. Cross my heart, hope to die. True story. I took the personality test. I was probably in my, mid to late 20s. And there were two careers that it turned out that I was best aligned for. First was flight attendant. But even above that, teacher.
What's been breaking my heart, I'm not gonna lie, seeing so many of my old female acquaintances, seeing so many of my old female friends, and it's every time I run across one of these social medias, see them in person, it's, you just had a baby, you a single mama, you struggling. I don't know how we be carrying these babies, risking our lives just to be able to walk away, stress us out, pick and choose whenever they want to come and help and stuff. And God, I hate that for us. I hate that for us. I do, because what happened? And it's so funny because oftentimes the ones who picked wrong partners, this girl used to go to school with me, elementary through high school, we graduated and all that. And she'd be talking about how she be struggling, how she's a single mom, how she's this, how she's that. And I know her. She had a rough upbringing, a very rough upbringing. And that kind of makes me think about myself too. I've had a very traumatic upbringing. You feel what I'm saying? That forces you to look for love in the wrong place. You find peace in all that chaos. You feel what I'm saying? And that's why I feel us females stick around long enough to the point where we do end up getting pregnant. We do end up this and we do end up that. Oh, y'all know how he was before y'all had the baby. But man, we gotta do better, man. And I'm only saying that because I'm pregnant again on my second baby. I catch myself looking at my BD from time to time. And it's not even wanting more, but just, you know what I'm saying? Just wanting more to life.
Just lost my job. They said they love me and they think I'm talented and delightful. But I just wasn't keeping up with the workload the way they need someone to. Which it was a lot. And I was getting really stressed and overwhelmed because it's going to be okay. Because Jesus is still on the throne. And God is my provider. It's sad because I really actually liked this job and I liked this team. And I've worked probably harder than I have in a long time at doing well at this job. And to not have done anything wrong, but just to not be a good fit is, I don't know. It's like a double-edged sword. Oh yeah, it's not that you did anything wrong, you're just not a good fit.